Why do many people who serve God remain poor? Many people ask, why is it that those who serve God seem to suffer from poverty and endless problems? But perhaps the question itself is flawed. Not everyone who serves God lives in poverty. In fact, many religious leaders appear financially comfortable and successful. So, if some believers struggle financially while others prosper, what explains the difference? Today, let's explore why many devoted believers remain trapped in financial hardship. And when I say poverty, I am specifically talking about a lack of money. The first reason is simple. God does not use money.
Money is a human invention. It is a tool created by people and sustained by human agreement. To earn money, people rely on human creativity, skills, knowledge, and effort. Imagine 3 people given the same intelligence. One person uses that intelligence to turn bananas into a beverage and creates a product. Another uses his intelligence to distribute that product and earns a profit. A third spends his time only thinking about drinking the beverage himself. All 3 received intelligence, but they used it differently.
Money works in the same way. A piece of paper only has value because society agrees it has value. By itself, money is just paper. Its value comes from what it can buy. One person uses intelligence to create value. Another uses intelligence to earn money. A third spends all his time imagining how he will spend money he doesn't even have. So where exactly does God fit into this process? The second reason is that many people confuse laziness with spirituality. Some people spend all day in religious buildings, not because they are deeply spiritual, but because they are afraid of facing the challenges of work and responsibility. If one person spends 3 hours working and another spends 3 hours dancing and singing, both may feel satisfied at the end of the day. The worker returns home with money. The worshiper returns home with joy. There's nothing wrong with either outcome. The problem begins when someone expects to leave with both the joy and the money, without putting in the work required to earn that money. You cannot walk into a hardware store expecting to buy a shovel and leave with a bag of meat. The store only provides what it was built to provide.
The third reason concerns our relationship with money. You cannot possess something that you constantly fear or reject. To earn money, you must first create something people value more than the money they already have. This is where business begins. If I offer you a shirt for 1,000 shillings, you will only buy it if you value the shirt more than the money in your pocket. Money moves when value moves. But what happens when someone wants money without creating value? They often look for ways to convince others to give it away. This is why some leaders constantly repeat that money is the root of all evil. Of course, excessive love of money can lead people to steal, cheat, or even harm others. But there is a difference between warning against greed and teaching people to fear money itself. Sometimes people are told, "Give your money and God will multiply it 100-fold." At that point, the conversation begins to resemble gambling more than financial wisdom. God does not need your money. What often happens is that people are persuaded to part with their money without fully understanding where it is going or what it will accomplish. I am not telling you not to give. I am telling you not to give blindly.
When you enter a church, look around. Look at the building. Look at the facilities. Look at the services being provided. Ask yourself whether the support you are offering reflects the value you are receiving. Give because you appreciate what is being provided, not because you believe God is waiting to collect your money. I am not telling you to stop attending church, but if a place of worship is not your profession, do not spend most of your productive life there. Spend time with your faith, but spend time building your future as well. Work, create, produce, learn, grow. Rest when you need to rest, but never make rest your life's purpose. Many religious leaders say that giving brings more happiness than receiving. And they are right. Giving can be deeply fulfilling. But before you give, understand what your contribution is actually accomplishing. Never allow your money to disappear into someone's pocket simply because they convinced you not to ask questions. A friend once asked me, "Why do so many wealthy people in Kampala seem to be Muslim?" I jokingly answered, "Because they pray every day, while you only show up during Christmas." But that wasn't the real answer. The real answer is that many successful people spend most of their time working, building businesses, and creating value. Their faith is important, but it does not replace productive action. Some even pray while they work, combining spirituality with productivity instead of separating the two. And finally, who told you that God only hears prayers spoken inside a religious building? In Matthew 6, Jesus teaches that God hears the person who prays quietly and sincerely. If God can hear you in silence, why assume He needs noise to hear your voice? Thank you for listening. If you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. We don't have to think alike. If there is something you disagree with, share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this message, leave a like. And if you disagree strongly, feel free to share it with others so they can see exactly why you disagree. Either way, thank you for your time. And remember, whether you agree with me or not, I still appreciate every one of you.
Hands raised in the quiet, hope in the prayer, but the work of my hands builds a future right here. I'm shaping the wood, you're seeking the light, while paper just turns into smoke in the night. This offering's honest, the sweat on my brow, a different kind of worship for the here and the now. Can't trade my joy for the money I need, sowing my faith in a productive seed.